right, welcome to On the Spot. My name is Ronnie Wiley. I got two people to my left that are doing some fantastic work here in this community, something that we really don't talk about much, but it's out there. Dusty Jolliff and Jason Spears of the shelter. Welcome to On the Spot. Dusty, we had you about a year or so ago on the show when this shelter project was just in its infancy. Tell us what's going on since then.
Well, since then we've just managed to really get the community involved and behind us and working with us. Mm-hmm. We have raised enough money. We've got a building donated anonymously. We've raised enough money to get, and also donated materials to get the building fixed where it needed fixing. Right. And we're really close to opening. We're just waiting for the all clear from the fire marshal, I believe.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, I'm excited. It's been 2.5 years in the making, and we're really going to be able to help a lot of people.
Yeah, absolutely. It's something that's definitely needed. And Jason, it's something that we don't talk about here in Fayette County.
That's correct.
We only think about homelessness in bigger cities. We don't talk about it here in Fayette County because we're a small community, but it's everywhere.
It's very prevalent. That's one thing we didn't. A lot of people don't realize exactly the type of homeless we have. It's not your regular homeless that you would see in like your bigger cities where they're on the side of the street, begging and things like that. We have a lot of working homeless. We have a lot of different categories of homeless, and the reasons why people become homeless could just be like a job or addiction or just any type of daily struggles. When you live paycheck to paycheck. You lose that weekly paycheck, you can quickly, lose a lot of your stability. Looking at the amounts, we've came across, we're looking at anywhere between 30 and 50 homeless in Fayette County.
Well, that's considering the population that we have. Mm-hmm. That's a lot.
It is.
That's a lot. And I'm sure there may be more that don't reach out for help due to pride issues.
Right. Yeah, we definitely. You definitely see that because the people that really want and need the help are usually the ones that don't ask for it. And, they're not going to the food pantries. They're not going to places asking for begging for help because they have that pride. They want to make it themselves because they did at one point, but something has happened in their life to change that.
Right. You talk about working. You guys talk about working homeless. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit more about the working homeless.
So, in my previous employer, I worked with a lady that was actually, homeless for quite some time while she was at that job. She was living out of her car with her kid and her dog, had no place to go, had a marital situation issue. She had to get out of an abusive relationship. She had she couldn't afford to, get an apartment or anything like that. So, but she had a stable job and, worked there for several years and got, now she's has her own apartment and things are great. But I would have never thought that she was homeless, and I knew her for 3 years. A lot of people, the working homeless are the ones that they're trying to make their life better, but whether they're living in their car, living under a bridge or abandoned buildings, things like that. But we don't have necessarily the same type of homeless. It's not a niche. There's definitely some differences between.
Yeah, when you say that, I think the first thing that comes to mind when people think of homelessness, and you mentioned earlier about addiction, that addiction is the biggest one. Oh, that's just another junkie, But that's not always the case. And even if it was somebody with that situation, they still need that chance. They still need that help, and that's what you guys provide. Yeah,
we work with the other ministries that are already in place in the community, and it's not just Connersville. It's all the surrounding communities. From, just draw that big circle, Richmond, Liberty, Rushville, Shelbyville, everywhere. And if we come across someone that needs more help than we can give, we're going to work with those other ministries to get them the help they do need. Right. Faith Builders, 1 Cent, Saved by Grace, that will help get those people into those programs.
Yeah, that's important. I think that's important. You talked, Jason, a bit ago about the pride issue. Mm-hmm. And there are people that have a lot of pride, afraid to go get the help that they need. But as you mentioned with the lady that you mentioned earlier, she's now got her own apartment. There are stepping stones that people need in life.
There is, and for instance, myself, I experienced, that similar thing where I was nearing homelessness,
Yeah.
and it, when you lose your job and say you don't have a vehicle or a stable vehicle, you lose all those stability stepping stones that a lot of us take for granted.
Right.
We take for granted that we have a vehicle that gets us to and from work,
Right.
and a job that's able to pay our bills, even if it's just enough. You lose that, then
Right.
that you become an issue. But it's getting back on your feet, and a lot of people don't. There's some people that don't have the family to fall back on, or they don't. Maybe they've burnt their family in previous issues,
Right.
Borrowing money or whatever. But you need that stepping stone, because in order to get, say, rent or something like that, you got to have 2 months.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
2 months is
Deposit,
several weeks
yeah.
of salary, and a lot of people don't
Yeah.
have that.
Right.
Making $10 an hour. So.
Then the crime issue is involved in that as well, where I'm sure that there are people that have criminal issues that may be homeless because they're trying to
Gain
survive.
employment, and there are places that will hire,
Yeah.
but they're very few and far between.
I've never understood that.
It's hard when I think it's a trust issue. You want to take a chance on someone, but
But
if
there's a trust issue with anybody.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
how
true.
do I know? I mean,
Yeah.
we
just,
get
just because one person has
Yeah.
gotten caught,
Yeah.
I'm sure we've done things in our past life as kids
Yeah,
that if
sure.
we would have gotten caught, put in jail, our background would be completely different.
I mean, look at the people that's stuck it to us before. They're the ones who wear the suit and ties.
That's
But you have to overcome that stigma,
Yeah.
as well, and you guys help with that.
Yeah, and basically we're just there to. I mean, everybody deserves a second chance,
Right.
and
Sometimes
I
a
believe
third
a third
and
and fourth.
Yeah.
And as many chances as I've been given
Right.
in my lifetime,
Oh.
and
70 times 7.
Yep.
Yeah.
exactly, and so I think we're kind of there to establish, maybe helping to give that second chance
Right.
for, because if we can build a reputation for, hey, you come from the shelter, we know that you're gonna, be someone that wants a second chance, that wants to try. So we're gonna be willing to take a chance on you. At least that's kind of, I think, what we're hoping for.
Yeah, because like Dusty said, we're not trying to reinvent the wheel. There's several organizations, ministries, individuals that are doing great things in this community. It's just getting that collaboration together,
Right.
where if we're on the ground, meeting these people, finding out what their needs are, evaluating that, and then getting with Manpower, getting with
Work One.
Meridian for mental health, and
Right.
different ministries that are helping people get back on their feet. That's the whole point, is just the collaboration amongst the ministries and the
Right.
other organizations that are already in place that people don't, that maybe they're not aware of.
Well, I think you hit something on the head, the mental aspect of it all. I mean, if you're in that situation, there's probably a whole lot of amount of depression that comes from the situation of being homeless for whatever reason. And overcoming the depression is huge, and it just doesn't go away when you get a job.
Right.
Just doesn't go away when you get a place. So you talked about not really reinventing the wheel. There's lots of spokes in that wheel, but you guys are an added spoke in there to strengthen that wheel, correct?
We are an added spoke. We're not the hub exactly. That's holding everything together. We're just one of those spokes that this community has, and it's not about our shelter. That's why it's called the shelter.
Right.
It's not my shelter or Dusty's.
Right.
It's the community.
Right.
We didn't even call it Connersville or Fayette County, because it's everybody, and it's community backed, community driven. It's something that anybody can be involved in and help out with, because we all need to collaborate and work together.
Right.
Because we can solve a lot of issues by connecting everybody together and working toward
Absolutely.
one goal.
Yeah, absolutely. Dusty, we talked the first time you were on about your involvement and what got you involved, and as you mentioned earlier about it being 2.5 years in the making. And for those who don't remember the show, remind us what got you involved and how this all started in your heart.
Because I remember either someone told me or I read an article in the newspaper about teenagers sleeping under the Fifth Street Bridge. And that just kind of got to me, and I was
Right.
just like, this can't happen. And then it just kind of turned into, and then I went to a friend, Josh Lackey, and he said, if it's on your heart, just do it. And then he got me connected with Dave DeBoard, and also through Josh, I got connected with Jason, going to Josh's Bible studies and things, and we became friends. And and I kind of just got the paperwork going, and then Jason stepped in and really got the ball rolling with getting the building, getting the community involved, and then of course Dave DeBoard. He has his own ministry, Saved by Grace, and but he had a heart for it too, and he, whenever we need a ride for someone or help with someone, he will step right in if he is available, and he will help us get the person who needs the help, the kind of help we need, and God laid it on my heart. But he also placed each and every one of these people, including you, in my life to help get it going.
Right. Yeah. And Jason, you mentioned that you were close, and I have too. I mean, I've been where it's like, okay, I'm almost there. It's scary. It's frightening.
Yeah, it is. Because in my previous to this, I had a great job, company car, company credit card. Living kind of the middle life luxury type thing, and one thing after another, lost my job, lost my wife and my place of employment, which then lost my transportation, and and then it was like, okay, and I'm walking down 40, literally have no place to go, and nothing to my name type of thing, and it was a really eye-opening experience, and it humbles you.
Sure.
You don't realize how good you actually have it until you're humbled at that moment, and that's when it was really an eye-opening experience of. And then after that, getting kind of back on my feet, because I had assistance. I needed somebody to help me get over that little hump, and that's what kind of woke me up when I got with Dusty. It's like people need that. I had to have that.
Right.
I had an individual that I took into my own home, and kind of did that stepping stone with of finding out, okay, he needs employment, he needs this, he needs childcare, things that people don't realize that I was learning along the way. And all that's played a part with the organization of the shelter, and God has brought us through so much in our lives that we are utilizing and sharing our testimony to help other people. Right. And all the glory goes to God with everything, because like you said, we started this 2017. It's 2020 now. Right. But we went a good year and a half of we don't have a building. We have this thing on our heart, but we're looking, trying to find a building, trying to figure out how we're going to pay for it, and it's like, let's just pray about it. God's going to provide it, and He did. He provided a donated building, and then the floodgates opened with people wanting to help. Donate this, donate labor, and it's just amazing and humbling.
You talk about the how much it humbles you in getting that help. And you talk about the ministry, the testimony. There are people out there who probably think that they're the only ones who are going through what they're going through. Yeah. And it's important to have them recognize that it's not.
Yeah.
When you talk about the stepping stones, you guys are really building their foundation as well to strengthen it so it won't happen again. Because I'm sure you remember that walking down 40, and you don't want to go back to that. And you cling tighter to God on that. How much does God play in the ministry? As far as you up front and tell everybody, since you don't receive any government money, you can shout Jesus to the rooftops, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
That's what you should.
Yep.
Absolutely.
And then that's the biggest thing, is showing people what God can and is doing in their lives. Because a lot of people get in that mindset of, I'm the only one going through this, and there's no way out of it, and that sort of thing, and showing them literally the light of, you're not in this alone. I wasn't in that alone. At the time, I thought I was.
Yeah, and I don't know about you, but there's been plenty of times in my life where I've been going through a storm, and I would convince you that I have it worse than what you have.
Okay.
Yeah.
For sure. God bless Dave. I wish he were here. He couldn't make it today, but he gets around more than I do, and he's in a wheelchair.
Absolutely.
That's how much that guy, he doesn't let anything stop him. God bless him.
No.
We're going to have him on the show later on. But I would convince people that I have it worse than him. because the sorrow is sometimes so much more to wrap themselves around. When you get people for the first time when they come into and you feel that shame, what's the first thing you guys usually do with them?
Love on them. Let them know that it's okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
And that God loves you no matter where you are, and He loves you enough not to leave you there. And that's kind of the whole point. I mean, what I always say, and if anybody tells you different, they're selling you something. But if you could sum up the Bible and God, and it's love God and love others by serving the world. And you can't save everybody, but you can definitely help the people that God puts in your path.
Right. Sure. Absolutely.
Nobody asks you to save everyone.
Right.
But
one of my favorite stories, I don't know if you guys heard this before, one of my favorite stories is about the starfish. Have you guys heard that story? But there's this starfish, and thousands of them got washed ashore. And this little boy's out there throwing starfish out there, and there was an old guy watching him. And he says, "Son, you ain't going to make a difference. All those starfish, give it up. You're not going to make a difference." And the little boy picks up a starfish and he throws it out and said, "I made a difference to that one."
Mm-hmm.
that's true.
That's what it's all about.
Absolutely.
Making that one difference to somebody, do the next right thing. So, Jason, how did you first hear about and how did you get involved?
Like I said, I met Dusty through an organization called The Ministry. So I'm actually an associate pastor for that Josh
And
Lackey
where's that at?
runs. It's actually here in Connersville.
And who runs it?
Josh Lackey.
Just like you, okay.
Yep. So it's an outreach ministry. We do services and different things. We're actually going to be doing services at the shelter location once we get up and running. And actually, that's another thing I wanted to mention is, the homeless shelter is just the overnight stay portion. The shelter building itself is open for any organization to utilize. It's a collaboration effort. So any nonprofit, any church ministry, any group that wants to do classes, trainings, things like that, can utilize the facility, outside the hours of the homeless shelter. It's free to use. It's 1,400 square foot open building. So we invite other ministries and other organizations, addiction recovery places, to utilize that. It's downtown, that sort of thing. So, but I joined with Josh Lackey about 4 years ago. That's where I met Dusty, and we just kind of got talking about the needs of this community. Even more than just homelessness. There's other aspects. The addiction, and there's different things that we need to that we want to be a part of. We want to help out with, and Dusty was talking about what was on her heart, and I've helped run a business before, so it's like, okay, well, I can help out, and it kind of went from there. So.
Yeah, good for you. I commend you. I mean, it's an incredible, and again, it's something that's not talked about a lot. What other avenues do you guys utilize to get the word out, other than Facebook and here on the show?
Radio. I haven't worked for the radio station, so in Connersville. So.
Oh, you work at the radio station? Do you? Okay, good. What do you do there?
I'm the board operator. When there's like a high school sports.
Oh, you make Sammy look sound
I
good.
do.
Yeah, Sammy and Dave.
Do.
Yeah, I used to do that. Yeah, ask him next ball game. Say, hey, Ronnie, I did. I made Sam.
So, and I don't do it all the time. I just fill in when needed.
Good for you.
But
good for you. It's fun.
Yeah. It's fun. That's why when I got my photography job, I didn't let it go. I was like, I want to keep doing it because I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
But Ted Kramer, he's just incredibly supportive, and Michelle Bonley and just everybody that works at the station are supportive of the shelter efforts, and so they help get the word out. They helped get the word out about our last boot drive, and then of course Facebook, and then the newspaper also.
Where can someone go if they want to help out? Where can someone go, and how can they get a hold of you if they want to volunteer their time?
We have a website. It's shelterconnersville.org.
Oh, wow.
We also have a phone number. It's 765-544-0065.
What was that one more time?
765-544-0065.
Okay. 544. We have an exchange 544 here in town. That's crazy.
It's actually a Google number.
Oh, it's a Google number. Okay.
So that way it's a shared line, so you can reach either one of us.
Okay, 544-0065.
Extension 1 is Jason, extension 2 is me, and if you dial 0, whoever picks up first.
First will get there. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So
of course, we
76
have Facebook page, and on the website there is actually a contact form for volunteers and things like that. Yeah.
So get to your Facebook page, which is the Shelter Connersville, or is it just the Shelter?
It's Shelter-
I'm on
Shelter
it. I forget.
Connersville.
Shelter Connersville.
Yeah, Shelter Connersville.
Yeah.
So ways to get a hold of you guys that way. What still needs do you guys have?
Well, I'm going to go through an inventory this weekend, probably today after we leave here, and figure out what exactly we need. I got a call from someone whose son goes to the high school, and I'm going to email her personally because her son would be interested in the high schoolers helping raise and get toiletries.
Yeah.
We got to count how many. We've had blankets donated, hats and scarves, but I'm sure we're going to need more.
Right.
Toiletries is really the big thing that I can think of right now.
Yeah, we've gotten several donations and several ministries that have partnered in doing like Better Days. Just recently, they're doing kind of a drive, kind of a competition, men versus women type thing,
Sure.
and helping out, and that's the thing. We're seeing the floodgates of all these ministries and all these collaboration of these other organizations that want to help, and it's just amazing. There's a few things, that we're probably going to need as far as item-wise, but our biggest thing right now is volunteers. We've got Dave, who's going to be staying overnight for the homeless as needed.
But he can't do it every,
Right,
we need
sure.
Because we want
people
to be open
relieve him.
365 days a
Right,
year. So that way we have somebody, a couple other people that can volunteer overnight stay. Haven't nailed down the hours yet, probably looking at like 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. type thing. And then daytime volunteers. During the cold winter months like now, if it's 10 degrees outside, we want to be open. We want to have like a warming station. So volunteers for daytime hours. And like I mentioned in the other ministries or organizations that want to do classes, we want to stack that schedule so there's something going on every day in that building, so that way somebody that needs
always
to get
there.
out of the weather can.
Yeah.
So.
Now you talk about the classes, and this is something that I've always had in my heart. When I was working at Centerstone, I worked as one of my jobs that when I worked there was an employment advisor, and I was helping people write resumes. And that's something that, was that something you guys would be talking about?
Yes.
Classes?
Absolutely. So
Yes.
we've partnered with NATCO Empowerment Center, Centerstone, Meridian, Manpower, to get those life skills as
Right.
well as those, employment, things like that evaluate plus help people get back on their feet, because you mentioned the other, besides working homeless, it's people out of jail or prison.
Right.
They don't have a place to go.
Right, yeah.
If they don't have family or somebody to bring them back in, especially if they've been in for a while, a lot of them are homeless. We've had several contact us about that. So
And they don't want to go reoffend.
no, and honestly, that's as much, even if they don't want to, you get to the point where that's all they know.
Or
And
the
it's-
hopelessness.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we do need things like teaching people how to fill out an application, how to interview, how to
Right,
build
yeah.
a resume, because it's and I'm like one of those people, like people ask me questions and I get nervous, and so I don't necessarily interview so well.
Oh, you're doing great here.
Well, thank you.
Great job.
Doing better than me.
But
You guys are both doing great.
but when people sit down and like just stare at
Right,
often
yeah.
in an interview it's like 2 or 3 people against
And
one,
you want
and you're
that
just
job,
like,
and you need that job. That's
Yeah.
you feel nervous because you know that this could be the start of something, a springboard into something big.
But you have to be able
get
to get that,
nervous,
yeah,
but you
foot in
gotta
the
go through
door.
that. Yeah, exactly.
so if anybody wants to volunteer for that, we need that
Yeah,
too.
Oh, that'd be great. It's
So-
more than just providing a pillow.
No,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
And I'm guessing eventually we're going to find some working moms that are going to need some daycare and things that
There's-
we'll want to stay open for during the day. And
Yeah.
of course now with those kind of volunteers, you're going to need background checks, which is no
Sure,
big deal.
yeah.
You can get that 24 hours at the sheriff's office. And then we want to, just, I totally lost my train of thought
That's
just
okay.
now.
It happens to me all the time, and we're live, not on Limerick, so it happens to me all the time. Just
Yeah.
watch any show, it happens to me quite often. I usually just talk, and something will pop up
Something
into the
comes
rambling.
back to you.
Yeah, exactly. You were talking about daycare, and I think that's an important
Yeah.
thing that people need to remember. It's not just the adults, not just the people getting out of jail, sometimes working families.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's
Or
why
homeless.
we're not going to discriminate as far as who is able to come to
need help.
shelter. It's men, women, children, families.
Yeah.
There's a men's shelter in Richmond. there's going to be a women's shelter here soon, but there's not anything for women around here.
Right.
There's nothing
Wow.
for families.
Yeah.
Most of your shelters, even in the big cities, they have to split
Separate.
people up. They have to go men and then women and children.
Right.
Well, what if you have a single dad?
Right.
Yeah.
He
And
doesn't have a place to go.
yeah, we want to fill that gap
Yeah.
because those ministries are needed, for the, rehab and the just out of jail or prison, and those are needed. But, there is a gap that needs to be filled. And so, yes, we will be for everybody. Yes, everybody will be in there together. But we will have somebody watching over them. And, they're together on the street anyway. So why not in the building where they're safe? And, I think the direction we were kind of hoping to go with the people to watch overnight was maybe like a woman and man team, just, to
Right,
help
Sure.
the client, the people that come in feel comfortable.
I like client.
Clients,
Yeah,
yeah.
I like that. Instead of you home, it's you're
Or
right, I mean,
residents.
Or
residents, yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah, I like that.
To-
No, and I agree with that too. And I think it would be important for that to. It seems like we need a bigger building as well. We're grateful for the one we got, but boy, I tell you,
Absolutely.
there are lots of needs that are.
We've had several people here recently say, we're going to outgrow this building.
Yeah,
And
pretty quickly.
honestly,
That might happen.
Yeah.
besides the other classes, as far as the shelter goes, I told Dusty this on day one. The whole point is to close.
Well, yeah, exactly. Not
Like,
needed.
we don't
Yeah.
want to be in existence forever
Right.
because
Yeah.
we want to eventually have those issues fixed. Now, is it realistic? I don't know, but be hopeful. Of I don't want to continue doing this because we want to be able to meet the needs
Right.
before
Right.
they get to that point.
And I think that's it right there. Where do you meet people before?
Yeah.
There are people that need that help to prevent them from walking on 40 by themselves. We need those people. We need to get into jails before they get out so that we can have that stability, that foundation, so they won't go back.
Right.
Yeah. I've already had a phone call from someone that's asking, hey, when this person gets out of jail on this date, can they come stay with you guys? So, and we get 3 or 4 calls a week at least.
At least 3 or 4 calls a week,
And
and that's different people. That's not the same.
Wow. It's
And that's been
amazing.
going on for 2 years.
Community, as we get ready to close here, I told you it goes by pretty quickly. We can talk on
does.
this for a long time. And you guys at one time like, wow, that's amazing. We can keep going and going. You're
I'm looking at that the whole time.
yeah, like, oh, please hurry up, hurry. And as we get ready to close here, again, we can talk about this because there's so much nuts and bolts here that we haven't even gotten to. If you could just sum up the shelter in 1 or 2 words, how would you sum this up?
love God and love others.
Collaboration.
Yeah.
Collaboration, I think, is the biggest
Yeah.
key.
Yeah, 765-544-0065.
Yeah.
Extension 1 for Dusty, 2 for Jason, or other way,
Other
anyway,
way
other way
around.
around, 1 for Jason. And just reach out to him, and God bless you guys for all that you are doing for here in Fayette County. And, as Jason mentioned earlier, hopefully we won't need this anymore. Hopefully that
One
this
day.
will be, yeah. But until then,
Yeah. Until then.
yeah, Jason.
Thank you.
God bless you, buddy.
Bless you.
Dusty, thank
Thank
you
you,
very much.
Ronnie.
They can reach you guys at the shelter where it's located at,
308 Northeastern.
308 Northeastern Avenue. Check them out, help them out, and you'll feel better for it. That wraps up this edition of On the Spot. We will see you next month.